Third day, Diary of a Wimpykid Cabin Fever, page 28. I'm one of those people who has a hard time focusing when the teacher is talking, and when another class is having recess right outside the window, it's practically impossible to pay attention. Wednesday. Okay, I take back what I said about being glad the playground equipment is gone. Now the kids at recess don't have anything to do, so they just stare in through the windows. And that's seriously distracting when you are trying to take a test. It doesn't help that I'm not exactly the fastest test taker. In third grade, I had a teacher named Mrs. Sinclair who taught us all these great tricks for remembering multiplication facts, but they seriously slow me down. Earlier this year, we had a math teacher named Mr. Sparks who used to stand on this chair every time he wanted us to remember something important. But when Mr. Spark was trying to get us to remember a math concept, one of those glass on his chair broke and he fell. Mr. Sparks broke his collarbone and I heard him swing the school over it. I don't remember the concept he was trying to teach us that day, but I do always remember never to stand on the furniture. During recess today, everyone was just waiting to go back inside, but then Rolly got up and started skipping around the playground. A few people started cheering and clapping. They must have thought Rolly was protesting against all the new rules by skipping instead of running. But the truth is, skipping is just something Rolly likes to do. For some reason, it really gets on my nerves when Rolly skips, so it bugged me to see him prancing around the playground like that. Skipping is actually a real sore subject between the two of us. Rolly says I'm jealous of him because I don't know how to skip, but I think it just looks stupid. I will admit that I never exactly got the hang of skipping. In fact, I was the only kid in first grade who couldn't do it. I was afraid I'd be held back until I learned how to skip, but luckily they let me move on the second grade. I'm worried it's gonna come back to haunt me later on. Sometimes I wonder how me and Rolly ended up being friends in the first place since we are so different, but at this point I figure we are stuck with each other, so I just try to overlook the things he done that annoy me. Thursday. The thing that stings about having Santa scout watching my every move at home is that I can't get away with the things I used to do during the holidays. A few years ago, Mom and Dad put some gifts under the tree a week before Christmas, and it was driving me crazy not knowing what they were. One of the gifts had my name on it, and I was pretty sure it was a video game. I made a tiny little tear in the wrapping paper to see me, and sure enough, it was a game I'd asked for. But then it was bugging me that a game I wanted was sitting right there under the tree, and I couldn't play it. So I went one step further and made a slit along the top of the packing and slid the box out. I opened the plastic case and removed the game, then put the box back in the wrapping paper and taped it closed. But I started to get paranoid that Mom was gonna pick up the present and noticed it felt lighter, so I opened it back up and put one of the Rodriguez heavy metal CDs inside the box to make it the same weight it was before. I played the video game every night after Mom and Dad went to bed, and actually beat it. But I forgot to put it back in the box, and on Christmas Day, and I opened my present in front of Mom and Dad, Rodriguez's CD slipped out and rolled onto the floor. The day after Christmas, Mom took the CD to the game hut and chewed the clerk out for selling her brochure that was inappropriate for kids. I just don't like the knowing that I'm getting for Christmas, and sometimes I can't help myself. Last year, I went on Mom's email account and wrote to all the relatives to see if I could find out where they are getting me. To Jimmy, Uncle Joe, Uncle Charlie, Grandma, Grandpa, Uncle Gary, Jonah, Lazy, Baron, 23 more. Subject gift. Hey everyone, let me know what you are buying for Greg this year so we can coordinate. Thanks, Susan. My mom keeps her email on the computer in the kitchen, and it's hard to get onto her account when Santa Scout is watching me like a hawk. Tonight I spent some time trying to decide what to put on my Christmas wish list this year. I try to be as specific as possible when I make my list because whenever I leave my gifts up to mom and dad, I get some crazy stuff. A few years ago, I forgot to write out a wish list and I paid the price for it. Mom was pregnant with Manny and she wanted me to get ready for having a baby brother. So for Christmas, Mom got me a doll. At first, I didn't want anything to do with it. Then I realized having a doll you could feed came in handy. In fact, I don't think a vegetable touched my lips for a month after I got Alfredo. But that wasn't the only thing I used that doll for. I found out that he made a really excellent comic book stand too. I have to admit, after a few months, I got really attached to that doll. Since I didn't have a pet, it was kind of nice to have something to take care of for once. But one day, I came home from school and I couldn't find Alfredo anywhere. I searched the house from top to bottom, but there's no trace of him. The only thing I could think of was that I dropped Alfredo at some point and somehow didn't notice. I was pretty torn up about losing my doll. But what I was really worried about was Mom thinking I couldn't be trusted around my new baby brother. So I got a grapefruit out of the fridge and drew a face on it with a marker. Then I wrapped the grapefruit in a dish towel, and for the next 3 months I pretended it was my doll. Mom and Dad didn't seem to notice, but I was terrified by the idea that the real Alfredo was gonna find his way back home and get his revenge on me for abandoning him and replacing him with the fruit. In fact, I still worry about that to this day. It's the reason I always check to make sure my window is locked before I go to bed at night. I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I actually got attached to that grapefruit too. But after a while it started to rot and Dad traced the weird smell back to my Alfredo decay. Mom didn't seem too upset that I'd lost my doll, but I will say she's never left me alone in the house with Manny for more than 15 minutes. Like I said though, it was nice to have something to take care of and I miss that feeling. So these days I've been spending a lot of time playing this game called Net Creatures. In fact, I've been playing Net Creatures every 3 seconds I get. The basic idea is that you have to feed your pet and keep it happy. And if your pet is happy, you get tokens so you can buy clothes and furniture and stuff like that. I played so much that I pet Chihuahua has a mansion with an indoor swimming pool, a bowling alley, and about 150 different outfits. The only thing I'm not happy about is his name. Mom's the one who set up my account and I can't figure out how to change the name she registered with. Mom says I take better care of my virtual pet than I do myself. I guess I can't argue with her there. Over the weekend, I played for 16 hours without even taking a break to go to the bathroom. But if you don't keep getting your pet new stuff, it starts to look unhappy and that really stress me out. The problem is that you can only earn a certain number of tokens and after that you have to pay them with the real money. Unfortunately, I don't have my own credit card, so that means I have to beg mom and dad to use theirs. And it's not really easy to convince dad to break open his wallet so you can buy a fancy outfit for your virtual pet. This year I'm gonna ask for a bunch of creatures cash for Christmas, but I'm still trying to figure out what to put on the rest of my wish list. I could actually use a lot of different things because a couple of weeks ago when I spent the night at the hospital getting my tonsils out, many sold half of everything I owned. But I'm not so sure. I should ask for no more gift like a video game or a toy this year. What I've realized is that every time you get something cool for your birthday or for Christmas, with the week is being used against you. Will be taking this away until your English grade improves. One thing I know for sure is that this year I'm only accepting store bought presents. Last Christmas, Mom gave me a really nice hand-knit blanket, and I had that thing wrapped around me for half the winter. But I found a picture for the same blanket on great Uncle Brace, who passed away a few years ago, so I pawned it off Roderick for his birthday. Bye!